Hey, what's up, fam? We're live. Welcome to this live on men's work with my brother Zag. Today, we're gonna take a few minutes for us really to just better understand when men's work, why men's work, what is men's work. We've had a retreat a few weeks ago. We want to share some of the insights with you. So I'm going to give it a couple of minutes here for my brother Zach to join me. Here's the request. Hello to you. Oh, and behind Life Soul Motivation is Riham. Hi, Riham. All right. And here it is. What's up, handsome?
Hey, man.
Doing well.
How are you?
Doing well. Can you hear me well?
I can hear
I
you well.
can hear you
Can you hear
well
me?
as well. All right. So
Amazing.
welcome everybody. Welcome to this live on men's work. Men doing the work. What work are you gonna ask? Well, I'm glad you asked because we're gonna ask that question, what it's about. I think more and more men are finally we waking up, people, better late than never, and we're starting to do the work. So welcome, Sarah, Mogul for lunch. Oh, some brothers from France here. Pierre-Etienne, welcome, my brother. Dina, Noor, Pete, Mariam, Nermeen. And Mickey Mouse is in the house. Alia is here. Yasmin. All right, cool. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. So we get started. Let's go.
Let's go.
So let's take a breath, shall we? We always start our circles, our gatherings, our meetings, and a lot of other things with the breath. So just full exhale, full inhale. Some of you joining us from France, some of you from the Philippines, some people here from Cairo. Welcome, people from Cairo. Where are you at, Zag?
Currently, I'm in the squash court. I'm in Sheikh Zayed. I have a class at 7. So I station myself in the squash court that I can finish the talk and then go right away
Awesome.
to the class at
I'm at
7.
home in Maadi, in Cairo. And we're going to do a quick check-in here. And so invitation here before, today we're going to do a quick check-in, then we're going to share a little bit about men's work. We want to remind you that this is an open, interactive space. It's less about Zag and I just telling you what it's about. It's also about you asking yourself questions, asking us questions, and us sharing the humble insight, our own personal subjective opinion on men's work. I have no doubt that today, I get a sense that probably most viewers may be women, um, which is most of the time the case, but maybe not. We'll see. Um, and women tend to also have a lot of questions about men's work. So feel free to ask these
Yeah.
questions. What can I do for my man? Right? What can I do for my brother? And so on and so forth. So we'll answer these questions. Before we do this quick check-in, maybe you want to tell us about next Friday, Zag? We have a couple of opportunities, right? A couple of opportunities coming up
Absolutely.
for men interested in doing the work here. And before you tell us about what's happening next Friday, I just want to say here we're not here to sell anything. We're not here to convince anybody to do anything. I'm here to share a message with the men who are saying, I'm looking for a space. I want to heal. I've been dragging some stuff for like years and decades. Where can I do this? That's why we're here, right? To let you know how we're doing it. Not how we've done it, how we're doing it. It's an ongoing process, an ongoing practice.
Yeah.
So what's going on next Friday, bro?
What's going on next Friday? Next Friday at 8 p.m. Itia and myself, we're going to be hosting a men's circle in Maadi in Osana at 8 p.m. That's going to be happening for 2 hours. And this is an invitation for the men to jump in, be shoulder to shoulder, have the talks, have an idea of what we are all going through. And we're just going to be around the fire,
Mhm.
sipping some tea. We're going to have like this fuzzy boyish feeling, but we're also going to be doing that good talk. Like you're going to feel, oh, yeah, that's interesting. That's something that's fulfilling. And that's going to be happening, inshallah, on Friday,
17.
next
Mhm.
Friday, 8 p.m., 17th of Feb, in Maadi, in Osana, and we are going to be sharing the event for this at, I guess,
Yeah, I
tomorrow.
mean,
It's going to be
for
ready.
registration right now, just hit us up if you're interested in signing up for this for next Friday, 8 to 10 p.m. at Osana in Mahazi. Hit us up. We'll be sending you the links to register. All these links will be available within the next 24 hours. Um, if you know, if there's a will, there's a way. If you want to attend, it will be very easy. If you need a bunch of people to convince you to come, then maybe, just wait. Your time is it's not now yet. Um, and I want to say that this men's
Yeah.
circle is it's really an ancient practice that we've lost, and that we are reconnecting to. Men are reconnecting to themselves. We are reconnecting to ourselves, and we're doing it with our brothers um, in these men's circles, so we can call each other out on our bullshit, so we can support each other, so we can say have gratitude for each other for sharpening, you know, sharpening each other in our relationships for us to be better, better men, better husbands, better brothers, better sons, and so on and so forth. So it's really about anybody who's like, yeah, I think I have some blind spots and some shadows that I need to deal with.
Yeah.
Um, because my family can't take it no more. My wife is tired of that shit, and it's time for me to heal. So if you think you deserve it, and if you're like intrigued by what we're talking about, join us. Join us next Friday. Take another breath. Shall we? All right. Quick check-in here in 20, 30 seconds. What's most present for you, Zach?
Zag, what's most present for me? My heart is a little bit squeezed. I received the news of a friend passed away last night, and I only got to know about this like a couple of hours ago, and it really hit me. And it's been quite some long time since I last seen him, and it made me freeze for a bit, and it really got me. It really got me, and I was on my way to a meeting, and I was like, "Damn, what am I gonna do? I need to feel it. I need to go in, not carrying the baggage over my back." So I decided to breathe into it. I had a little bit of tears. I felt it in my heart. I felt it in my right hand because he helped me in a certain situation where I hurt my right hand. And I was like, wow, it's been a good opportunity to remember this good man. And yeah, my heart is still feeling. There is a buzz around my heart still. However, I can breathe better. It's moving.
Thank you for checking in. My condolences. May your friend rest in peace. For me, I'm checking in with some tiredness. I've spent the last couple of days in training with one of my mentors, Shahab Ojik, for those of you who know him. Um, and so a couple of days studying typologies and enneagram, and so I'm checking with an energy of self-awareness, um, of refining awareness of myself, of refining awareness of my blind spots, at times painfully. This is really like, oh. really. Still dragging this, still dragging that. So that's really what I'm most present with. Um, and I'd love to invite everybody here on the call as an invitation. Yeah, this is not a requirement, but maybe just drop a couple of words like what's most present for you right now. And I know a few of you are in Cairo on that side of the pond. Um, have you checked in with yourself today? Have you taken a moment, pause, to
Yeah.
take a breath and to ask yourself, all right, how am I feeling right now? And it's not a question of like, okay, I need to feel more like this, I need to feel more like that, or being judgmental, self-critical. It's just like Zag, you did it beautifully earlier, saying, "Well, I'm carrying here, I'm carrying some grief, I'm carrying some sadness. Can I make a little space for that for me today? So it's not so heavy. Is it heavy? Of course, it's heavy. Um, and yet the goal is to be able to allow this energy to move through, and for you, for me, for us, to feel what we need to feel. Um, that's what we mean by reconnecting. So if you feel inspired,
Yeah.
everybody, um, just drop a couple of words here.
Give yourself just a few seconds just to breathe into your body, feel it in your chest, in your belly, feel that heartbeat, maybe one thought, one sensation in your body, or one emotion, one thing that you can connect with, and let it just move through your body and let it move.
And if you're like, oh, I don't know if I have the right words, or I need to write something interesting, um, I would respectfully say for that. Um, you know, and I'm talking to my own perfectionist or to my own people pleaser here. Uh, you know, just give yourself that gift of honesty and presence. So with that,
Yeah.
and for the sake of time here, um, let's really reflect on. I'd like to reflect on men's work, um, and here we're welcoming a few people here to that live. Some of my brothers here from Canada, from the other side of the pond, from the US. Welcome to all of you. Let's maybe take a moment. I'd like for us to start with like why men's work. Um, and I want to keep it short. I want to keep all these questions and answers short. And I want to once again ask people here to drop their questions in the chat. What questions do you have about men's work? Because a question that often comes the past few days, we've announced we're going to do a men's retreat on the 17th and 18th of March outside of Cairo, Arti Dashur. The details are in my bio. And um, and it's interesting because many men are contacting me and asking me, what are we going to do? What's the schedule? What are the activities? Which I understand. I get it somehow. But I think a more interesting question is why? Why, why men's work? Why diving into your shadows? Um, And if you allow me, Zach, to take a stab quickly here before I hand you the mic. Um,
Please.
I want to repeat what I said earlier. Why men's work? The first answer that comes to mind is because it's 2023, brothers. Because it's time. It's time for us to grow. It's time for us to mature. It's time for us to rise. And I'm not saying rise and like, whoa, we're gonna take over and we're gonna crush everybody. For anybody who's hearing that, you're probably hearing that from a place of being wounded, of being hurt. I think um, in previous lives, we've had some women where like men don't need more power, they have all the power. Um, we're talking about healthy masculinity. We're talking about helping men to heal from that bullshit, toxic, violent, aggressive masculinity. We're talking about powerful, grounded, solid, supportive, secure masculinity. And this is what we're aiming for, right? For men to be able to embody, right? That all these archetypes, starting with that archetype of the king, right? Of the sovereign, of saying, I'm here so that I can ensure the safety of my own kingdom. And if I was to talk about my family, it's like, well, my wife and kids, right? I'm here to protect them, to provide for them, right? And so that within that kingdom, there's safety for them to grow, learn, right, as adults. And so in a nutshell here, to finish, for me, it's an invitation to all the men who are resonating with that to really show up, because that work doesn't happen on its own. It doesn't, healing, I've been a practitioner working on trauma recovery for many years, for, I mean, my second decade, and we don't heal and time doesn't heal. That's bullshit. That's it. I'd just like to say, honestly, just waiting for things to heal, you might heal a lot, you might wait a long time. I've seen people, on their deathbeds. I've worked with terminal patients who, that's when they let go, but all that time they were not able to. I'm saying you really have to wait for life to just give you a big ass slap in the face before you take responsibility, for your emotional baggage. So that's really the invitation here, all men, to say, deal with your shit before your shit deals with you. In a nutshell, before that divorce, before that breakup, right? Before you find yourself isolated, before you find yourself intoxicated, addicted, and so on and so forth, right? Deal with your shit, because life can be really beautiful. And surrounding yourself with men who want to heal, who want to take better care of their family, of their community, that's the type of men I want. That's all I got for now. Zach, wide man's work.
Thank you for sharing
And
that.
again, if there are any questions, comments,
I'll
just
take it
drop it.
where,
I agree. This is bullshit. What are you talking about? All of this is welcome. The floor is yours, brother.
yes, please, ladies and guys on this live, please feel free to ask or share something that might seem interesting or doesn't make sense for you. Just put it out there, and I will take it to right where you left it. Yeah, I mean, we don't really need to wait until our life starts to hit us with the shit in the face. And what if, what if someone says, like, I have my shit together, my life is good, my job is good, my relationship is good, I don't need this work? I'm like, maybe, but also, do you want to make it better? And this is the whole thing about belonging to this collective of men with that urge, with that desire to become better men. And as we always say, iron sharpens iron, men sharpen men. And in such situations, there is nothing like, I'm the best wherever I am. I feel good in my job. I feel good in my relationship. I don't have anything that's lacking in my life. I don't need this kind of work. If you believe so, okay, good for you. Do you want to be better? Do you want to become better? Do you want to be having a better job with a bigger perspective of seeing the world around you, with a better understanding of your partner, of your wife, of your kids? Or just to be a better person in your family, that you understand what it means to have a family, what kind of relationships you prioritize in the family, and why is it essential, and how can be this kind of little seed, you as a member in your own family, and you as a member in this community, in this whole society, because it all starts at the family and then it goes and echoes towards the whole world. And this is why men work for understanding what a man is, how to take that and level that up. So it's a matter of owning what it is, process it, put it to work. So it feels like putting the bullets in the magazine and then clipping over and being ready, not to kill, but having a tool, having a sharp tool that's ready to go. It's not dangerous. It can be dangerous if we need it, but it's not dangerous. It's not toxic. It's not aggressive in a toxic way. It's aggressive in the right way whenever it's needed. And this is where we have to understand that masculinity comes with certain elements. It's parts of the masculine, like aggression is a part of the masculine. How can we direct this aggression towards the healthy behavior and the healthy aggressive into the healthy masculine? All of these things that feels like, what? Aggressive? Are you okay with being aggressive? Yeah. This is how we end up doing heavy work. This is why we want to create. It comes from a sense of aggression.
This
It
is
comes from a
how I
place of
can protect my
fulfillment.
family.
Absolutely. And it has to be just directed the right way. And because it starts all from within, hence it can be directed towards the right direction instead of trying to say like, oh, you did me that, oh, you directed this towards me, you better have the shit towards yourself, and started pointing the fingers out instead of having it towards myself, owning it, processing it,
If
and
I
then
may,
redirecting.
do a comment here, because you say what it is to be a man, and I'd like to rephrase it as like what it is for you to be a man. Each of us to be a man. We don't have a. Let's be careful about standardized templates of masculinity and what it and like being a man means being this and being that. No, fuck that. This is not what we're going for. We're going for self-awareness. What is a fully integrated version of you as a man? What is a fully healed version? And when I say fully healed, I say that slightly because I do acknowledge that this is an ongoing, this is a lifetime, endeavor here. So, but what is a version, that is healing? I, I mentioned a few times blind spots and shadows. And I want to acknowledge that, some of my dear friends are like, I don't I don't feel called to do this. Um, and I respect that. I'm like, that's cool. And yet it doesn't come from a place of like, because I'm fully healthy. It often comes from a place of like, because either I don't know how to approach it, this shit is too painful for me to go. I don't want to stir the pot because it's just too much there, and so on and so forth, right? And so it's like a fragile kind of like things are okay, and I don't want to rock the boat because God forbid, I may lose something, And so here I just want to remind that the know thyself keeps on coming back in my mind. It's like know yourself. It might be the white hair in my beard that kind of like remind me daily as I look in the mirror. Do I know myself truly? I don't. I'm going to turn 45, and thank God I know myself way more than I used to. But there's still so much more to discover, and that's such an exciting adventure for me to dive deep within myself. And and I also want to mention that by diving deep within myself, I'm becoming aware of, sadly, the more I look at myself, the more I'm like, oh, some of these patterns really need to be corrected because they're unhealthy. And as a father of two, personally, there's a lot of patterns that I don't want to pass on to my kids. I'm like, oh, hell no. I really hope they don't do that. But for me to hope they don't do that is not enough. It's on me to correct my behavior. Whatever I tell them not to do is irrelevant because they're going to do what I do, not what I say. Right?
Yes.
So to all the fathers out there, we're like, no, I'm good. Well, if you're an exemplary father, then good for you. But if like me and 99.9% of the fathers on earth, at times you shut down, you lose your shit, you're not supportive, you're judgmental, you're like, then explore that because you don't only owe that work to them, or to yourself, but also you owe that work to them.
And sometimes it feels like not necessarily, I mean, for me, when I have a partner, when they come and say, yeah, I'm going through a hard day and I had this happening in my work and that happened and my colleague did that and my boss did that. And that masculine wants to come out, that the fixer wants to come out, and yeah, maybe you should do this, maybe you should do that, instead of this, do that. But maybe what if she's just trying to invite the feminine in me to just be there and connect and take it from there. Just slow it down, find the flow, and then find the container for that to move all together in a collective instead of she's on her own on that side. I'm trying to correct, I'm trying to fix, and then it becomes like it's not moving together. It's two different separate elements moving against one another. And at the
Yeah.
end of the day, we're just trying to have a talk. We're just trying to be a collective, but it just requires to tune in, cool down, calm down, rest our asses down, and really check in. What is that moment asking me to do? Instead of what my mind is really pushing me because whatever the conditioning or this is what I'm
Mm.
expected to be. The man has to be the fixer, the man has to do whatever, but it's just tuning in, understanding what this moment is giving to me, what this moment is inviting me to come out and integrate. And these are elements that we are normally not having the tools to
Yeah.
engage with unless we have other people around us to poke us and say,
Mm.
hey, what about
Hey,
this?
you fucked
Yo,
up here. Yeah.
that
Yeah.
that that wasn't
Yeah.
clean.
Yep.
Yes. And this is where the men start to feel like, yeah, it's not just a safe environment for other men to connect and integrate, but it is individual and collective. It is individual. I'm gonna be having someone right behind my ass telling me, you better own the shit. You better own the shit. You better point those fingers instead of out. And collectively, or they're holding our container for us all together to rise up all together.
And
This is
isn't it
where
so much
this is where
better
shit
to be
happens.
called on your shit by a friend, by a brother, rather than, by your wife, or your partner? I mean, quick poll here, in the women here, like how many of you are like, I wish I wish my husband, I wish my boyfriend, I wish my partner would do this work, you know? And I'm gonna assume that probably, many of you are like, yeah, I don't know if I may be interested, or maybe he's interested, but he's not there yet. He's thinking about it. Um, and so I just know that all that emotional labor, and I can only speak of myself, but if I was to be honest here, my wife has had and still has sometimes to do a lot of emotional labor for me. And that's fucked up. And I acknowledge it and I want to own it. And guess what? Even working on it, she still has to do some emotional labor, right? And we marry each other's we marry our aggravations. So I'm here to trigger things in her, and she's here to trigger things in me. And all this to do that, for me, one of the main benefits of really connecting to these circles of men, right, to this environment where I can show up honestly and I can own my mistakes, my shortcomings, is an opportunity for me actually to correct, self-correct, have these mirrors that come up from a place of love, that come up from a place of friendship, um, and so that I can then go home, without my wife having to do all this work. Um, because again, I want my wife to be my wife. I don't want my wife to be my mom, and be a whole that can be a whole live
Another
on that,
talk.
and because it's in many countries and here too, how many men leave their mama's house
Absolutely.
to go live with their wife, and but the roles have are blurred here. Now it's like, but then did you really grow up? Like, is that rites of passage are missing? Initiation is missing for most of us. We have lost these rites of passage, and I think here what we want to bring back is again these ancient practices, these ancient and yet crucial rites of passage, so that men can embody that that grown, fully grown, more mature version of themselves. So I'm looking at the clock here. We're 30 minutes into it. I just want to remind everybody here once again that next Friday, the 17th, from 8 to 10 p.m., we'll have a men's circle at Osana Family Wellness. 8 to 10 p.m., we'll gather around the fire with some tea. We'll bring down the masks and we'll go deeper into this conversation between men. And in about a month after that, on the 17th and 18th, I didn't realize they're almost exactly a month apart. 17th and 18th of March at Ardi Dashur, we'll have a 2-day men's retreat entitled Connect to Your Body and Connect to Your Inner Warrior. These are unique spaces. These are rare, unique spaces in most countries and including Egypt. This is pretty rare to have that kind of space for men, for us to drop in, to do the work, to help each other, heal and become better men. So one last time here, tuning into checking in the chat here. I haven't seen any particular questions. Nope, no questions here. We're gonna give you another couple of moments if there are any questions about the events, about anything we've mentioned today. In the meantime, Zag, is there anything in particular you wanted to mention before we wrap it up?
Because this, as you said in the beginning of this talk, a lot of men ask, so what do you do in this retreat? We're not going to tell you, but also we're going to tell you. We're going to tell you, but we're not going to tell you.
We can tell you some of it, but
and this is part of
surprise.
Yeah, I mean, we cannot expect what's going to happen in our daily lives, and we want to I want to put things under my control as much as I can, and this is impossible. And this is one of the experiences that we are invited to put ourselves fully in to discover how I'm going to be in such a moment that I have zero control over, but my own self. It's not that I'm asking you to come completely ignorant about what's going to happen. You're going to be invited to breathe, to move, to confront and be confronted, and be courageous.
Amen.
And integrate. And we cannot be promising something, but I would love to just promise one little thing, that when you're going to be leaving this retreat, you're going to be going back home, feeling something new, feeling something different, something shifting, something is just about to come out that you've been resisting for so long. And at this moment, it's going to be only you who chooses. I'm choosing to integrate and become the better version of me, or I'm going to let that sink in for just a little. And there is no one forcing anything over anyone here. It's an experience that we put ourselves fully in with our full desire and our full will. And as you said, Etienne, it's 2023. For fuck's sake. For fuck's sake. The whole world is falling apart. And I mean, it's better sooner than later. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on. There is nothing to run away from here. Let's own some shit
love what you
and let's
mentioned.
go.
We're gonna breathe, we're gonna move, we're gonna confront, and we're gonna be confronted. I think this is a beautiful summary. And I do want to mention again, for the sake of ownership, that the more you put into it, the more you get out of this. If you come and you keep your arms crossed for a couple of days, physically or metaphorically, and this is what we're gonna get out of it. If you come and you truly dive into it and you say, okay, I'm ready to do this work, like you said, for me, my life changed the moment after my first men's retreat, which, by the way, I had no fucking clue about. I had no clue about what was like. What are we gonna? Who is this? What are we gonna do? No idea. Zero. Zip. But because I had some stuff going on in my life with my wife, I needed a space. I was like, I need to address some of these issues. I went there, and it changed my life for the better. And that's also why I'm here, holding space, because I know the power of these spaces. This is a transformation. Come to these circles, come to these retreats, um, and give yourself that gift of transformation, for the better. To all the men here who have questions, feel free to reach out, sign up, show up, do the work. Your women want it. Like that's the bottom line. Even if they don't say it, maybe because maybe they gave up, on that, which would be very sad. If they truly love you, they want you to heal. Because even if you pretend you have it together, you like everybody else, you're probably hurting sometimes, and you want to show it. And you don't have to do that alone. And for all the women out there again who have questions,
Absolutely.
and we're like, oh, I don't know what to do. Well, just kick your man in the butt and tell him to show up, right? This is really, again, don't do the work for them. That's the worst thing that you can do, because you're gonna infantilize them. That's fucked up. That's fucked up for you. That's fucked up for them. It's an unhealthy dynamic here, and you don't want that. So just kick him in the nuts and tell them you're showing up to this circle. You're showing up to that retreat, because I love you, and if you love me, you should be there. On this note,
And one little thing for, because I had a few friends of mine, one of them, Yusra, she was always asking, when are you going to be inviting women to your circle to retreats? Soon, eventually, that's going to happen. We need to create the container for men by men, that we're feeling safe, we're feeling this, we're having this solid ground, that we are owning whatever that we are having. And definitely there's going
yeah,
to be a moment of integration with other circles of other men and other women. And it's necessary, just like there is women's circles, there has to be men's circles, and it's not necessarily an equivalent to it because there is women's circles, there has to be men's circles. No, it's not about this. It's about creating the container, the pot, the safe spot, the safe zone for the man to pour and crack their layers, their conditioning, to deconstruct all of these expectations that were there because of society or because of certain things that we received when we're young. Deconstruct all of these layers and talk to the reality, the truth inside of us.
well,
That's why we have this container, and eventually it's gonna grow to have other
that
women
men,
as well.
most men, forgive me for generalizing, but most men will not show up as honestly and vulnerably if they're women. If there's one woman, they'll change the whole dynamic. And I hate to admit it, but
Absolutely.
that's just the truth. Um, and so there's a space for men's circles, and there's a space for mixed circles, and I'm looking forward to that as well. It'll happen in due time. On this note, next Friday, 17th, 8 to 10 p.m. in Maadi, Osana. The link, just hit us up if you're interested in register, or if you know somebody who's interested in registering. 17, 18 March,
This is going to be a circle for 2 hours next Friday, and the retreat is going to be happening exactly a month after 17th, 18th
Yep,
of March in
yep,
Ardi Dashur over the weekend. And this is a prolonged version of
yep.
our first men's retreat. This is over the weekend, so we get to dive deeper and elongate the process a little more, integrate a little more, and leave with something deeper and bigger.
Thank you, Zag. Thank you, everybody. Have a blessed night or a blessed day, depending on where you are. Feel free to hit us up if you have any questions. See you next time. Please take care.
Thank you, man.